Okay, the mic is on now, right? Can you guys hear me? Just put in a comment if the sound is working on your end. Okay, I guess you can. All right. Okay, welcome everybody to Sunday Night Live, the next super stock live stream, the webinar. And tonight we are talking about how to turn $10,000 into $10 million. It's not as crazy as it sounds. We're gonna talk about. Okay, the sound is working. Thank you. We're going to talk about NIO. That's the clickbait title of the video. You know, this is a little spoiler alert. NIO is just a tiny part of the live stream. We're really going to be talking about how to make real money, not these 20x piker returns. We're talking about making some serious cash potentially. Again, every stock we're talking about here, they're very high risk stocks. You could lose all or part of your money. Do not buy these stocks unless you can afford to lose your money. So let's talk about NIO. Excuse me, NIO. Right now, one of the hottest stocks on the market. Stock is about $46. Every guru is talking about NIO. I've seen this on YouTube now. It's on social media everywhere. Because again, that's they're in the electric car space. They got that Tesla thing going on. But here's what's interesting. NIO has a lot in common with our next super stocks, the companies that you see on our live streams. Almost a year ago, just about 11 months ago, NIO actually came this close to being one of our next super stock presenters. And what happened was this: the office, the headquarters, the HQ in China, they came across our site, and we had a conference coming up September 25th. I have a little email clip. For privacy, I kind of censored it a little bit, but they contacted us, to present at a conference coming up September 25th of last year. The stock was about $2, and it was kind of heading down. And hey. As soon as I didn't know about NIO before. I'd never heard of it last year. When I took a quick look at it, it really met all the criteria of being a next super stock. And we're going to talk about what those criteria are. I was pumped up. I wanted these guys on board. The problem is their office in San Jose, their IR person there, she kind of threw a monkey wrench into it because they didn't want to spend a couple of grand to be in that presentation. I guess they thought they were too good for it, although they were basically a busted IPO. I mean, nobody wanted to have anything to do with it. People thought it was a scam. I mean, why else would a New York Stock Exchange company be $1.65 from where it was? But why am I telling you about NIO? Tonight's live stream has nothing to do with NIO. Although NIO did go, if you bought it last September at $1.65, today you would have made about 24 times your money, right? Which sounds pretty good, right? If you can take 10 grand and make 250 grand, right? But what if there was a way instead to take that same 10,000 and turn it into $1 million? With, I'm going to call it the fast lane strategy, okay? And I can almost guarantee there is people in our audience. I don't know if they're on the live stream today, but there are definitely people who are in our subscriber list who have done that, who have made, I don't know if they start with 10, maybe they did 50 grand and they turn into 5 million, whatever the number is. But there are definitely people who could have done this, and you could have done this, and you could still do it. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the future, how to start with what you have now and make some serious cash with these next super stocks that you see on our live streams. So let's get into this. So here's two different scenarios, okay? And this is, again, 10 grand into 10 million. How to turn $10,000 into $10 million in 3 trades, okay? most people, they let's say they start with 10 grand, they buy a stock, let's say it's a 10 bagger. So they get 100 grand and they think, okay, it's going to be maybe 20X, 100X. And, so it might turn to 200 grand. And if they're really lucky, which it does happen, sometimes you could have 100 bagger. I mean, there are definitely stocks that go up 100X, but it could take a couple of years. Usually these things do not happen overnight. Okay, maybe really for something big to happen like that, 100X return, usually takes 5 years if it's a legitimate company. But we have a better approach. Again, this is, I'm going to put up the banner here, which says this is not a recommendation, high risk. Okay. Here's the strategy that I want you to consider. This is the fast lane approach. You start with 10 grand, whatever the number is. Okay, whatever you're putting in, it should be money you could afford to lose. You're not going to worry about it because scared money don't make money, as they say. Okay, so you don't want to have scared money. Let's say you start with 10 grand. You get your first 10 bagger, that becomes 100 grand. You parlay that into the next 10 bagger. Now you have $1 million. Okay. And usually these 10 baggers take about 10 months to kind of mature. The gestation stage is right about that 10-month period. Now here's the good part. You take that $1 million and you turn it into the next 10 bagger. So now you did 3 trades, 30 months, $10 million. I don't think it gets better than that. And the great thing, which I didn't know that, I know we have a lot of Canadians in the audience. I just found out about these savings accounts that you guys have, which is you pay no capital gains tax. So this is, this is what this is made for. So, and can it be done? Absolutely. Let me just show you. Okay, so here is Cytodyne. Cytodyne debuted on our live stream last August. Stock was 50 cents. So that was right before NIO. So the stock, if you would have bought Cytodyne 50 cents, and actually at the time that NIO was $1.65, you could have bought Cytodyne at the same price, more or less. Now here's what happened. Cytodyne ran up to $10 this July. So within less than a year, you had a 20X return. Okay, so if you started with 10 grand, at the peak, you would have had 200 grand. Now, here's what's interesting. CloudMD. In July, the stock was, let's say 50, what is it, 40 cents US, 50 cents Canadian. It's up 5X. Now, if you would have taken that money from Cytodyne, if you would have sold Cytodyne at $10 at the peak, okay, waited a few weeks, parlayed that into CloudMD, if you would have rolled it over, you'd be at $1 million. Okay. Now, of course, I'm using a perfect scenario, and this is in the real world, things are messy. It could have been some various permutation of this, but here is the exact example I'm talking about. August 15th, you would have bought Cytodyne 2019, started 10 grand. July of this year, you sold it that becomes 200 grand. That's 20X. You turn around, you buy 400,000 shares of DOC at 50 cents with that 200 grand. And you Canadians are not paying capital gains if it's in the that great savings account that you have there. And that value, so the value of your account right now would be $1 million. Let me turn to see if we have any. Let's go to the comments, see if we have any. Oh yeah, we go. Let's go to a couple of the comments, and then we'll go back to the presentation. Right. So yeah, absolutely. Don't. Scared money does not make money. This guy bought NIO. Wow, $2. Congratulations. You should sell now. Parlay that into one of our super stocks. Biden. Yasmin, we don't know if he's won. It's. Until everything is in, we don't know. We don't know yet. So here we go. NIO is overhyped. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think these e-vehicles are listen, it's a lot of hype. There's always hype. But perception is reality, right? Is that $40, $45? Is that a real number on the screen? That's the reality. So everything else does not matter. Okay, so let's talk about discovering, how do we find these 10 baggers, 100 baggers? What's our strategy? How can you take this and use it to make money? And again, let's roll through a couple of these so you can actually see how this is working. Look, we had Next Tech last year. Again, 50 cents up, 13x. We had Imagine AR, 2 cents, 35 cents, 17x, 1700%. Here are some recent ones. This is just in the last couple months. Logic up 200%. Apia Energy, one of the small ones. We have Peak, this is one of our hottest stocks right now. The Peak is incredible. The stock is it's basically been a triple. I think it's $1.50 right now. So if you would have gotten in at 40 cents, you'd be 3 times your money. Here's an interesting one. Okay, Fubo. You guys see this on the New York Stock Exchange now. They just did their kind of IPO. They actually started with this back in March. It was called FaceBank. It was on the OTC. Stock was about $8, $9. And, they debuted on that program. And it actually didn't really, they kind of dropped the ball. They stopped or whatever. But the stock did double. And now the stock is about $15, $14, I think. And probably could be a $20 stock. So, but that's not really what I consider a real success story. Then, of course, we get Cytodyne, we have Cloud. Okay, so what's our criteria? There's really 6 things. And NIO had some of these things, and all of our super stocks have these. So here's what we're looking for. We're looking for companies that are going after big market opportunities, okay, multi-billion-dollar market opportunities. Number 2 is they're at a key inflection point right now. Timing is everything, okay? We want to get in right when the company is about to take off. We don't want to be waiting around 3 years while they're, putzing around trying to figure out how the business works. We want to be in there right when they're starting to sell and the revenues are about to explode. So they're at that key inflection point. 3 is they have multiple catalysts in place. There are multiple drivers, things that can drive that value creation. Either there's a pipeline of contracts, there's things out there which can really get that stock to explode. Number 4, very important, I can't even really underemphasize this, is a CEO that gets it when it comes to creating shareholder value. And how do we know if a guy gets it? I mean, now this is going to sound a little bit self-serving, but listen, it's action. Action is what matters. It's not every CEO talks about maximizing shareholder value, and we want a CEO that's actually going to take it seriously, invest money and time in connecting with investors, like on some of our live streams, and they're going to do it on a consistent basis to build that audience, and so that thousands, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of investors discover the story. Because when they do, that demand, you have that increased demand which didn't exist before, meets a great story, stocks go up. It's a formula. Now here's 2 things which are very important. They're in yellow. We're looking for companies. We want to start off with an edge. Okay, this is about having an edge. So we want companies which are really undervalued compared to their peer group. So when we're getting in, we want stocks which are, they might be trading at a multiple of half of what their peers are trading at. So, if their peer group is trading at 10x revenues, we want stocks that are trading at 2x revenues, maybe 3x. So we want to have that edge because, again, that's one of the potential catalysts. And even we've had companies that are trading at a discount to what valuations are in the private area, in the VC world. And 6 is they have to be part of big themes. We want companies that are riding big trends. Like, for example, you have CloudMD, that's the telemedicine wave. You have PKK Peak, which is fintech in China. That's a massive wave. If you've been following the news, you probably know about the deal with Ant, the Ant IPO, which kind of got, I guess, put on hold for the time being. But that kind of goes to show you that there's a big change wave, and you want to ride that wave. So we have stocks that are part of those waves, and also we're doing gold stocks right now. We just launched a couple of gold explorations and juniors, And gold, my opinion, is going to be $3,500 in maybe 18 months. I mean, I've been talking about this for quite a while. Not just in the last few months. I've been talking about this for maybe over several years. Gold will be $3,500. I can almost guarantee you that. And the junior gold stocks are going to explode, and we're going to bring you some major companies. So let me just change over a little banner here. By the way, guys, we are on Telegram. If you got the Telegram app, you got to join this. Look for the Wall Street Reporter channel, okay? And you're going to get our notifications, news, throughout the day. You don't want to miss this. This is going to be great stuff. And we're also now on Discord, thanks to our special guest. So we have a Discord channel where you guys can, talk and, continue the conversation, etc. So let's go back to, this is all about playing for big stakes. We're not looking to, make 50% return, double your money. This is not what this is about. This is about massive gains, venture capital style returns, because we're essentially playing in the public venture capital sector, but we're using some strategies. I'm going to talk about the fast lane strategy, which really kind of takes the Warren Buffett strategy, which is compounding. Okay. It's that snowball effect where you have one winner, you roll that into the next winner, and you parlay it into the third winner. And that's how you get those numbers we talked about. That's how Warren Buffett did it. That's how, actually, we've had one of our favorite guests on our program a while back did that, and you could do it too. Okay, so the minimum, we're looking for realistic returns of 10x to 100x. These are realistic. This is not, we don't want stocks that are going to be 2x. It's got to be something which is going to be 10x to 100x, and there's got to be a clear runway. There's got to be a real clear path to immediate 3x to 5x. Let's say within 6 months, because look, I don't expect a stock to be a 10-bagger in 30 days. That's not going to happen. If it does, it's a miracle. But usually it takes about 10 months. But we want to see traction pretty much right out of the gate. I want to see traction where stock doubles within 30, 45 days. I mean, if we're right, if we're kind of on the ball, the stock will probably double in that 45, 60-day period, and then it could, go 3x from there. And some of our biggest winners have actually dropped a little bit after they debuted, like Nextech, Peak. They kind of dropped about 20% in the first month. They had a pop, and then they kind of fell off, and then they wanted to be monsters. Okay, so let's talk about this concept, the venture capital concept, the fat tails, and what we call asymmetric setups. So Peter Thiel, you guys probably know Peter Thiel, multi-billionaire VC, the guy, one of the founders of PayPal, amongst other companies, investor in Facebook. His concept is, look, it's the one or two investments that you have, which are the winners. They outperform the entire portfolio. So, you might have 20 different positions in your portfolio. It's going to be that one massive winner, which is going to totally change the game for you. And, I kind of want to add to that, if I may be so humble, is, again, look for that 10x to 100x upside, but where the odds are stacked in your favor. You want the odds stacked in your favor. And we're going to talk about how we do that. So here is the formula. It's pretty simple. We start with a company that has a great upside story. So it's got to have that great concept. It's got to, be that big market opportunity, multiple catalysts, all those things we talked about. And that's multiplied or amplified by, let's use the word promotion, okay? We essentially take that story and, right now the company may have very little audience or zero audience. And now we get that story in front of, hundreds of thousands of investors, millions of investors. What does that do? It creates more demand. So you have hundreds of thousands of people know about a stock versus, 50. All of a sudden you have people, discovering the stock. As the stock gets discovered, price goes up. And of course, we hope that the company is going to have, they're going to have some, positive news flow development. So it's not just promotion. The company has to have, they got to deliver. That's really what you see happening. So, we basically, these companies, when they deliver, we just amplify their results so that investors know about it. And look, the stocks that do well, whether it's like NIO, why is NIO hot now? Because everybody knows about it. That's why the stock is going up. Really, it's nothing to do with their fundamentals. I mean, the fundamentals of NIO are whatever. What, they made 5,000 cars, big deal. Okay, because look, one of the biggest risks that you guys have, I think one of the key risk in the micro cap market, in the small cap space, is you have that kind of high potential, hyper potential stock that it's a potential 10 bagger, but the problem is nobody knows it exists. The company, nobody knows it exists. The stock stays stagnant. It's undervalued, and when you have a stock that nobody knows about, there's no volume, no liquidity, that company can't access capital. They can't get M&A opportunities. They can't attract top talent with stock options. I mean, if you're a tech company, how do you compete with Facebook and Google and Amazon, whatever, who give their employees options on stocks that are going up, and you have some crappy stock that is stuck going nowhere? You can't. So you're not going to get the people who can really make a difference in your company. And look, we've seen this happen. As soon as a stock starts going up, the companies can raise capital. They can do M&A. They can attract talent. We've seen that happen with some of our biggest winners. All these, the 10 baggers, the 10X plus. The CEOs. One of the things we look for is CEOs who know how to take advantage of those opportunities when they present themselves. So when the stock starts running, these guys are, they take advantage of it, and that's what that creates the reality for the business. They take that capital, they invest in the business, and next thing you have, a potentially $1 billion business. Let's go to let's see here. Let me change this over here. Okay. Let's go to the comments for a second. Okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna go through the comments in a little bit. All right, so let's talk about the next super stock and the asymmetric or asymmetric. I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it asymmetric? The asymmetric setup. Okay, so you have a upside of 10x to 100x. So that's a $1 stock that could be a $10 or $100 stock. The risk is limited. The risk is maybe 50%. Usually, I mean, we've seen the stocks that do well, they never really drop more than 20, 30% out of the gate, because if they do, there's probably a problem, and we haven't had that happen. I mean, if they drop out of the program, that's a different story, but the companies that are working with us, we haven't seen that happen yet, I should say. So you're really risking 50 cents to make $10. So 20 to 1, pretty good odds, I think. And here's your edge. The edge is you have the kind of that built-in, the IR program, which we do, which creates the awareness for the stock, which we know is going to get more eyeballs on a stock, and that's going to, if the story is good, those investors are going to connect. It'll be a winner. By the way, I'm going to be wrapping up this presentation in a few minutes, and we're going to open up for the live chat and our special guest, who should be logging in any second now. Okay, so here's some quick rules. Just keep this in mind. Number one, you got to get in early. You got to be in the water, ready to ride the big waves. Okay, you can't be, sitting on the beach on the sand, looking out at the ocean and saying, "Hey, when the big wave starts coming in, I'm going to run out with my surfboard." It doesn't work that way. You got to be out there in the water because you got to be ready to ride that wave. You don't want to be chasing stocks that are going parabolic, when they're up, massively, and then, your risk becomes much bigger. Number two, do your own research and do your due diligence. Pretty obvious. Don't listen to, just this, what we're talking about, because, obviously, this is not independent opinion. I mean, the companies we work with, they're paying us, they're clients. And also, we don't recommend stocks. We don't say buy, sell, hold. That's your decision. So it's up to you to decide when to buy and when to sell. Very important. And up to you how much capital you allocate to each position. That's critical. So those two things really is the difference between, the guy who's going to make 10 million and the guy who's going to make, 50 grand or whatever. or maybe somebody's going to lose money. If, I'm sure there's going to be people who, they're going to buy these stocks at the high and sell at the low. There's always those people out there. If you're watching, don't do this. Okay. Listen, and know when to cut losses, and most importantly, when do you cash in? You got to take profits. Look, when a stock goes parabolic, it goes up, 10x, 20x. You want to take money off the table, roll it into the next winner. This is all about, again, our strategy, this fast lane strategy, is about parlaying your capital, compounding, taking 10 grand to make 100 grand, 100 grand becomes a million becomes 10 million. 3 trades. I think it could be done in 30 months. Who wants to take the 10x challenge, the $10 million challenge here? We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so to wrap up, fast lane strategy, I'll give you also another example, another scenario. Let's say you would have bought Cytodyn at 50 cents. You sold it at $10. So you made the 20x your money. That 10 grand became 200 grand. Let's say you bought the Cloud, that became $1 million. Scenario number 2 is you sell Cloud at $5. Let's say Cloud goes to $5 Canadian, right? I think it's going to go a lot higher, but whatever. Let's say it goes to $5. I mean, you're in at 50 cents. Why not take some money off the table at $5, right? Now you got $2 million that you have. Okay. If you've been following the system so far, you got the first, you got the second, and so now we're getting ready to do our third 10 bagger. So you take that the 2 million, you take that $2 million. And this is the hard part. You're going to roll that into the next super stock. I don't know if you're going to put all of it because that's a lot of money. But let's say that becomes a 10 bagger. You have that three-peat. The three-peat. I don't know if I could use that because I think that the three-peat has been trademarked by the the NBA guy, the coach. But basically now you have $20 million. So that's a potential scenario. Or hey, you could buy and hold. Let's say you would have bought Cytodyn last year at 50 cents. You took that $10,000. At the peak, it would have been worth $200,000. Okay, so in July, it was your 10 grand became 200 grand. But if you held on to it, it would be worth $50,000 today. So you'd have made 5x your money because that stock kind of crashed. I don't know. You never know with these things. It might come back. I don't know. Make it to $1,000. I have no idea. Okay. But basically, buy and hold, does not always work out. I mean, or it could have been, let's say Cytodyn could still be, $10, so you'd have had 200 grand. Would you rather have $200,000 or $1 million, or in this case, a lot more? So we talked about this fast lane strategy, 3 10 baggers. So 10K becomes $10 million in basically 3 trades. You start with 10 grand. You got 10 bagger number 1, 100 grand, 1 million, 10 million, 3 trades. I think it could be done in 30 months. Okay, I think I'm done. Let's go into the live chat. Where is our special guest? Oh, hang on a second. Okay, here I'm gonna have to send a. Okay, so stand by, everybody. I need to send a link to our special guest. Something is wrong here. Stand by. He's gonna be coming in a second. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so the special guest, please check your email right now. You should have the link. Click that link, and it'll take you in here. Okay, so let's go to some of the questions. Let's go into the Okay, here we go. Who's ready for the special guest? Okay, here we go. Who's ready for the special guest? Is it Dr. Hamza? I don't know. We'll find out. We got a doctor. Dr. Hammy. I don't know who Dr. Hammy is. Let's find out. Okay, special guest. Welcome.
Hello, hello. Thank you, Jack.
The man, the legend, the guy who asks all the great questions. Actually, we should have the full name here, because people, they see you as Graham on the live streams.
Yeah, no, I need to change my live stream name. I think I'm getting too popular here.
So this is Graham. You've seen his questions come in on our on all the live streams, and so this is great stuff. Hemi, where are you right now? Are you in Vancouver?
Yeah, I'm in Vancouver.
Okay.
I live in the TFSA dream.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So I just found I only found out how this works because we had a conversation. You told me about this. I didn't know. So basically, in Canada, you can compound your money tax-free in this account.
Yeah, as long as you're not deemed to be day trading.
Okay.
So, I mean, you need to trade quite a bit, or, you might get flagged if you're over 6 figures or something like that. But I haven't really heard any of those stories, as long as you're like holding long-term and not flipping stocks over and over again.
Okay. So basically this program, it would make sense. The fast lane strategy. I know this sounds like a lot of hype. It does sound like it's hype, but it's actually kind of reality. I think I can guarantee somebody in the audience, I don't know if somebody's going to do this, because it could be done. I mean, people do this all the time.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have told me this 5 months ago, I would have thought you were crazy. But I mean, we're seeing it like live right now with, my first stock I got into was NTAR, and that one took off, and then now DOC's taken off. And if I would have been following that strategy earlier on, who knows, maybe I could have been at that point. But now we're seeing it with Peak, and there's so many great opportunities out there to invest in growth stocks that are undervalued, like you said. And yeah, like it's life changing. Like this program itself, watching NTAR and how the CEOs communicate, and you're learning like the insides and out of the companies. It's such a big deal, and you build these communities, like even with the Discord, like you get all these people with similar interests that sharing knowledge and sharing experience. It's just such a powerful tool to invest in. It's nothing that we've seen before. It's like there's all this new money coming into the markets, and the market's been behind on technology too, and now we're seeing it with social media, guys pumping stocks on YouTube and Twitter. There's a great opportunity here, and I think you're nailing it like on the head right now.
I think we're in a golden age. I mean, I think we're in a kind of a golden age of the microcap market, because you have right now, you have some really interesting companies out there. You've always had interesting companies, but right now there's companies that could really become like those 100X, because the technology is old. There's a lot of just opportunities, but most importantly, you have a new wave of buyers out there and investors. You have I guess it's the millennials. They're much more into finding these stocks on social media. Especially, I think, because of this TFSA thing in Canada. I think that's what's happening. Is it also, you have these no commissions. I mean, everything is just like the stars are kind of lined up where you can have a massive bull market. I mean, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if the general market drops. I don't know, it could drop 50%. Why not? I don't know. I'm not I don't have a crystal ball, but there's always, there's always a bull market somewhere. So, I mean, like, even if the Dow drops, 30% next month, you could have a massive rally in junior gold mining stocks or cannabis or whatever. There's always a sector, and we want to be in that sector. We want to have like the companies in that sector. So okay. So, Hammy, let me ask you a question. So you've been following a couple of the live streams. Which companies, like, what's your criteria? Like, I mean, I know you've seen a bunch of them, but you've only invested in a handful. So why do you choose certain companies? What's your kind of thinking behind it? Like, how do you make the buying decision, and how do you make the selling decision?
Well, I think a big part of it comes down to like some of the points you said, like being undervalued. So like low market caps with massive growth potential, with like step changing technology. Like you think of the like ICAN in the cannabis industry with their step changing technology, or Peak even, you know, with fintech. There's nobody else really doing what they're doing. So like you said, the possibilities there for growth and scale are endless, right? So if you look at that, you look at the stock price, you kind of take the market cap against versus where they could scale to. Like early days in Doc, it just made so much sense that when it was 54 cents with a market cap of 30 million, they own their own tech. They're
money, right? I mean, at that it was like a gift. Basically, I mean, look, there's always the stock can go to any stock can go to zero, right?
oh, for sure.
Let's you know, at that 30 million market, because I think that's the thing. You got to look at the market cap, right?
Yeah.
30 million market cap, and that's like, you know, a hot sector. This is back in the summer. Teledoc was, or TDoc was already up, you know, massively then, and cloud was still, you know, in the basement.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's crazy. Like you look at like even some of the stocks that we're following now. Like there's some that aren't on the show, but like Peak, for example, like the market cap, they're trading 1x revenue with like a projected revenues of 40 million for this year, and their market cap was like less than that. So like and they're just scaling, and more news coming out, more deals, and it's just I don't know. Like I know it's high risk, but is it really high risk at that point? Like it's crazy that these stocks are trading like that, and it all comes down to just nobody knows about them. They're just hidden gems sitting in the CSE or the OTC, and that's where I think like these programs and you know the communities and all that have such power to show that, right? And just like you said, if you have a CEO that understands that and uses that to help drive the stock, it's game changing, really.
Yeah. Okay. So you made an interesting point, actually. And again, this is going to sound self-serving, maybe, but you know, it's the reality. Because we're in the promotion business. But look, the reality is, you know, the job of a company CEO is to make the stock go up. I mean, at the end of the day, right? I mean, you're buying the stock because, you know, you're paying $1 because you want to sell that stock at $10 or whatever the number is, $5, $10. You're not going to be happy if the stock is 70 cents a year later or 2 years later, are you?
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple that I
triple.
Yeah.
If the stock stays, so the thing is, it's critical. I think and like this is the thing that we look at is the companies that do well, like, you know, this next super stock thing is because those guys are making an investment you know, they're investing money, but they're investing time because they have to show up on our program, you know, 2-3 times a month. Because look, we don't, you know, our thing at Wall Street Report is we don't make recommendations. We don't say, oh, this company is great. I might say my personal opinion, but we don't. That's not the business. The business is we take a CEO, we take, let's say, money manager, whatever it is, and they tell their story in their own words to the audience, and you know, the audience, you know, you decide. So the CEO has got to show up. They got to be, you know, the great guys are always the ones who are transparent, right? So, you know, they show up when there's good news, when there's bad news, they're always there. And they answer every question.
Yeah, for sure.
How many do that?
It's all about like engagement and just engaging your fan base, just like, you know, any athlete, for example. Like, you know, the guys that are engaging and out there in public, they're the ones that succeed more when it comes time to, you know, deals and shoes and all that, right?
That's a great metaphor. I didn't think about that, but yeah, I mean, the guys who are good, it's like they have they're you know, I mean, you might say they're showmen, they're kind of, you know, they're creating a brand, but you know, if they, you know, if they build a fan base, you know, they make money, right? And the same thing with stocks. If the CEO builds the brand of the, you know, the stock goes up, you know. So hang on a second. We got. Let's go to some. Hammy, feel free to jump in with any of these comments here. Okay, so this guy here, Mr. Dato says he's been doing it. He's been doing the fast lane. The fast lane. Wait. Now hold on a second. Did you get out of Doc and parlay into Peak? What did you do? I'm curious. And what price did you get in? You know. By the way, my opinion is I don't think Doc has peaked yet. We're maybe halfway, in, maybe a third of the way in. Let's see here. So this guy, Ashar, had a 10 bagger NIO, bought at 11. Wait, at 11, the stock is, did they split? I don't know. I don't, did they split? So 4 bagger maybe. Let's see. Okay, so wow, a lot of people here. A lot of people. Okay, so a lot of people did buy NIO, which is great. Okay, same guy says he bought 100,000 doc at a buck. Okay, now what's your exit price? Do you have an exit price? Are you going to wait? Like, what's the? That's the trick. The trick is to know, when to get in and when to get out. So, Hemi, let me ask you a question. What's your strategy with these? Do you have an exit thing in mind? Do you write it down? Because I know I talked to Paul. Paul was saying he has just what did he say? He doesn't. I don't think he has. He just has. I forgot. We had him on. What do you do?
Well, I think, like, where are we at right now? Like a five or 6 times. So I think at that 10 times level, I'd probably reduce a little bit more, just because, like when it's at $7, like the chances of it getting to $20 is going to take a lot longer than investing into something like Peak, which is at $1.50. So the way I see it is Peak will be $5 before Doc gets to, $21. So like you said, when we talked, that like after a stock goes 10 times, to get to that next 10 times, it's a lot bigger of an accomplishment.
A hurdle, yeah.
So I mean, you kind of got to. I mean, if there's an opportunity, there's always opportunities, right? So, and for me, I like to still keep a safe position in these things because they're still growing, but at the same time, like with this fast lane strategy, you can take a decent portion out and at certain levels. So I typically, I think we're at a second inflection point. I think it's going to run at some point. Dr. Hamza bought some stock on Friday. I think that's a hint. So that's in my opinion, of course. But usually when Hamza buys, you buy. So I think we're going to see another run up pretty soon, and then reassess at that point. But yeah, like pulling out and getting into a new opportunity is definitely, we're uncovering hidden gems here. So stay tuned.
At the end of the day, look, I mean, it's about you got to keep money never sleeps, right? Mm-hmm. you got to keep it moving. I think cloud is gonna have. Listen, you never know. Some of these things could be, when let's say we bring out 20 companies, 1 out of 20 could go straight 100x over 3-4 years, 3
Mm-hmm.
years. I'm sure it's going to happen. Yep. It'll probably be a resource stock because it's got to have that blue sky type of potential because they can do it because it's people are buying that. For sure, it's going to happen. I think cloud is going to have a big run. I think we did like a little chart thing, and they're in that trading range. They're going to break out of it. I mean, I think it's going to be $4.55 next, and then I mean, it could be a $10 stock by September next year.
Yeah, I think for sure it could be the way that they're growing and making deals. No one else is doing what they're doing, so they're already on T-Doc's radar, like Dr. Hamza said. So they're just making stellar deals, and as soon as they keep expanding to the US, the story's just gonna get better.
What's your Hemi? What do you think? This comment here. Do you think cloud is already high?
I don't think it's high at all. I think there's still money to be made for sure moving forward. It's just like on your strategy, if you want to buy something and hold on to it for a long period of time, it's a great play. For sure. Like I'd be buying at these levels for sure. Like at 290, I think it closed, or 292 or something like that on Friday. That's a great level because it's right at that, the triangle's formed and it's ready to go at some point in time here.
It's coiling.
No, it's coiling. Just like it's done it 3 times. It's coiled 3 times.
Yeah.
At 3 different levels, and it's done the same exact thing. It's following the same exact pattern. You can look at the charts. It's going to happen, like for sure.
Hemi, are you concerned about dilution in cloud?
No, I think one important thing to realize with what cloud's doing with their deals, their acquisitions, is they're not just buying for cash. And I think Dr. Hamza has said this quite a few times, that they're getting buy-in, right? So when they're acquiring these companies, they're providing stock options, which kind of gives these companies that they're acquiring a buy-in into the platform, to work harder, to build the platform even further. When you buy something for cash, like who knows what their incentives are. And like one of the things that stood out for me when Dr. Hamza was talking about these acquisitions is that when companies are asking for cash, it's kind of a red flag. Like maybe they're just going to take the cash and run and not help, share the vision with him and the company moving forward. So that's kind of where I see that.
Let me add something else, is that here's the thing. The stock, again, the rising stock price creates a new reality. It's that creates the reality, because look, when the stock is $5, right, all of a sudden there's a lot more people that'll want to do a deal. They do acquisitions, because people, when they see the stock moving, they say, hey, I want to hitch, my hitch my wagon to this, shooting star, right?
Yeah.
So, when I think it just accelerates, as it's success creates success with these things. It's a self kind of fulfilling thing. And I think you're going to see like a velocity there. That's where the opportunity is. Great comment. It's always easier to buy than to sell. This is
never enough money.
Let's see here. Okay, so by the way, I should just also mention that we are on Discord now, thanks to Dr. Hammy. We have the Discord, the Wall Street Reporter Discord channel, and I would suggest, look, we got the channel, we got the stuff, but it's a different type of conversation. Like Hammy has the channels, so there's it's a different. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but it's a different. They're two different things, and you guys talk about different things. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're working it out. It's going to be it's going to be a pretty solid thing that we're doing here.
And okay, hey Hammy, fans. What are your thoughts on fans?
Love fans. Stay tuned.
I
think the esports betting, online gambling, I think it's starting to really get traction even further. Like Ontario just passed a bill, I think it was last week, to start to allow the iGaming platforms and whatnot. And I was talking to one of my nephews who's 20 years old, loves League of Legends, and he's telling me that like millions and millions of people are watching these things, like more than the Super Bowl. So I mean, like you get that many people engaged, and all of a sudden you get to put betting into it, and it's like, the opportunity for growth is insane. So
this theme hasn't caught on yet. It's almost like it reminds, like the esports iGaming thing. It hasn't really. It's not a big thing yet. It's sort of like I was really expecting the esports thing to be kind of where telemedicine is right now. I was. Right. Sometimes these things take a while, kind of.
Oh yeah. Well, I think from what I was reading, it's like a lot of things, the technology was kind of lagging behind where it needed to be engaging to the people that would be betting on this stuff, right? So, and it seems like fans has kind of found that tech to drive it to that level. So, I think a lot of good things are coming for that. I think we're going to see in their revenues in the short term, either Q3 or Q4, that they're ready to kind of scale. And the platform that they have is kind of, once they get going, it's kind of like a recipe just to print money, pretty much. Like they're bringing in money on every transaction, like constantly, right? So
you want to kind of maybe explain to the audience, like in your own words, like the kind of where they are, the inflection point where they're going from 3 games to 10 game, whatever, the aggregators, the cash from each game. Can you wrap, like I want to kind of see, how would you put this into a bullet, like easy to understand thing for somebody in your own words? Like how would you?
Yeah, I mean, well, they have so many different parts to their business. Like the McBookie thing, they just announced they did $690K revenue in October. So times that by 12. I mean, that's a lot of revenue already, and their market cap is so low. So you take McBookie, and then they have all their other things. They have the 3 online games, and if they bump that to 12, I mean, that's another 4 times on top of whatever they're generating there. And I think those numbers for the 3 games are going to start becoming clear. And then their B2B and B2C, where they're licensing out their tech to other betting companies. It's hard to. It's one of those things where on the surface it doesn't look like it's going to be a lot, but people that understand how it works and like kind of the insides of the business, that it'll make sense. But until they actually show that those dollar values, the market's not going to catch on. So like to me, it's kind of a good opportunity to get in. I mean, they're trading almost at the low, their 52-week low, and
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like, and they're driving revenue, and their market cap is so low. So yeah, I'm excited. I had a email chat with the CEO last week, so I'm pretty excited to get things going.
yeah, excellent. No, it's definitely, look, it's one of these things that, some of these stocks, it takes them kind of a while to, usually they take off, right, but sometimes it takes them kind of like a plane taking off. It's like, it's down the runway, it's building speed. These guys, it's kind of like a bit of a slower start. And the other thing is, they're not, I mean, they're young guys, so they're not really like they're not like, well, I'll put this way, they're not promoters like with, I'll give you an example. A great promoter is, we had Sheldon. Do you see Sheldon? Remember Sheldon?
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah.
Okay, so Sheldon, I think he's, I mean, we've had our differences personally, but I would say this guy is top 1% of CEOs I've ever met as a promoter, as a guy who pitches a story. Maybe one of the best out of thousands of companies I've come across. Really, the guy's incredible. So if we can make these guys, if we can like give them some of the Sheldon thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the nice thing about them though is they've surrounded themselves with talent too, and their board of directors and all that too, right? So if we can just work on the whole promotion thing, then I think, maybe we. But it'll come around. Like, it's hard. Like, me being on this video, like I was super nervous about doing this. So I can only imagine being a CEO of a company trying to like promote your company, and this is like your shot to kind of prove yourself. It is nerve wracking. I think you see it even with Peak with the first couple interviews. You could tell it was a little bit kind of standoffish and nervous, and then the last interview is just like pure smiles and just driving home all the key points. And it was a game changer for me. Like, just seeing that, it was like, okay, it's time to load up, right?
Yeah, no, because listen, no, it's true. Look, you're dealing with human beings, right? It takes people sometimes a while to kind of, it's a new format maybe, and not everybody's. I mean, just because the guy's running a public company doesn't mean he's done. This is basically like television, right? Essentially. No. So not everybody's used to doing it, and with Q&A, it takes a while kind of to do it, and so that's an interesting point. I mean, I think when I first started doing video, my face was not on the screen. I kind of had to see. I was like, in the thing, because I was like, I don't want to go on. But years back when we did like video, I mean, we were doing with Wall Street, we were doing like streaming. I think they call it streaming video. This is before YouTube would put video. We shot like interviews we were doing a lot of mining stocks, like all the big mining stocks, and I mean, I had analysts do it. I didn't do this stuff. So it's but yeah, so it's these guys, like the human beings. But at the end of the day, it's I think these guys will do really good. Great question coming in here. Here, multiple great questions, right? Okay. Hemi, would you buy Doc at current levels?
Yes. Not for our explosive growth fast lane strategy, but if you're looking for a nice safe haven to grow some money over the years, then yeah, for sure.
Because the other thing is also at this level, in a way, even though the stock is up, in a certain way, the risk is less where it is now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, it's not going down.
The risk today is lower than what it was at in July when it was 50 cents.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's and remember, they're still trading on the OTC pink sheets. They're still on the TSXV. They're not even on like a major. Once they move up to the TSE, then it'll be, from there it's only looking up from there, because then you're bringing in a whole new batch of investors that'll be in on it, right? So.
They have. I mean, here's what's interesting is, of all our companies, of like our kind of stable, Cloud has some serious institutional money coming into that stock. Mm-hmm. At this point of the game, they have real institutional money flowing in, and those guys kind of keep coming in as the stock goes higher. Because listen, some guys are they're squeamish about having a $2 stock on their books. Maybe if it's $10. Mm-hmm. Then it's all psychological, which is
Well, for me, I'm kind of just leveraging Doc's gains and the safe gains on higher risk plays, right? So
okay, Paul's picks. Hemi, if you had one stock to choose, which would it be? We should charge for this.
Are we talking Wall Street Reporter stocks? I don't.
We have to do a commercial break here.
Okay.
Anybody watching this, we are on Discord. Join our channel on Discord, and also even better, Telegram. Look for Wall Street Reporter at Wall Street Reporter on Telegram. You got to get this Telegram. I just found out about this. I'm on it. It's amazing. Telegram on your phone, on whatever. Fantastic. Okay, now, Hemi, go ahead.
Is it got to be a Wall Street Reporter stock?
Oh, you can say whatever you want.
Okay, I love Peak, but I think Loop Insights (MTRX) it's doing some really big things, and we've tried to work our magic, but hopefully soon.
Okay.
But I just
Peak. Not Peak. A Matrix. This is a guy that we were talking back in February, and for some reason we never got rolling with them. But I listen. I like the story. You know.
I mean, you got a 30 mil market cap that's working with companies like TELUS, Amazon. You don't hear about these little guys working with these big companies. So, and they're halted over the weekend. So we'll see what happens Monday morning. But they just announced some Shopify integration on Wednesday, and they're halted on Friday. So who knows?
Hey, are you into CBDT Empower?
Empower, I love. That's a great play. And now with kind of we have some direction with the presidency. I know it's not completely done, but they're doing some great things. They're teamed up with Loop as well for contact tracing and testing, and they're kind of a telehealth play as well. They're at a great level right now too, and I'm expecting big things for them coming up. At 5.5 cents or whatever they are now, it's a cheap pick it up and let it go because they're doing some great things.
I agree. That one has what do you call it? It has you get that asymmetric returns there, and I'm just basically we're waiting for them to they got to do a couple things. They got to get the presentation together. I mean, they're busy closing the financing, so it's going to be like this week, next week, but we're gonna basically launch next imminently. And I'm expecting big things. I mean, that one is easily could be a 10 bagger. From where right now 50 cents, it can go from 5 to 50. Why not?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like they got so much going on, and with the states.
ICAN. Are you into ICAN?
Oh, I love ICAN. I'm already in ICAN.
You got the machines, and also now you got the for anybody that doesn't know, tell them what it is.
What's that? Sorry.
For anybody that doesn't know, can you tell them what ICAN is?
Okay, so ICAN.
In your own words, what's the investment concept for ICAN?
Okay, so for me, I'm always looking for step-changing tech, and ICAN has that with their pre-roll machines. So they're able to produce 1,000 pre-rolls, premium pre-rolls,
joints, marijuana.
Yeah, rolls, pre-rolls. Because right now, most of the stuff that you're buying in the stores isn't pre-rolled. So their whole thing is they have these machines that pre-roll 1,000 rolls an hour, the exact same every single time. And that was the big challenge for them, was to find that balance to be able to produce the same thing, the same product each and every single time. So that kind of tech nobody's doing. There's the margins on premium pre-rolls are so low, even for Aurora and all the big names, that they're really not even pushing it that much. So I think this kind of tech could be a game changer. Like their white label, for them to sub out this technology and roll for other companies, they're pushing 40+% gross margins, which is huge for a white label product. And they're doing 40% gross profit on their own, selling their own products, and they're all over California. But for me, it's the technology, and the technology goes all the way back into their cultivation manufacturing too. I mean, they're producing premium flower at $1,000 and selling it for $2,800. There's just so many, there's multiple avenues to grow and scale. So for me, I think this is going to be a really good story, and I think it's going to start kicking off here in the next couple of weeks with revenues and a more clear path into the future. It's definitely one to check out. It's if cannabis is going to run, and these guys are a hidden gem in that kind of market.
So it's basically the technology, the machine, being able to create the pre-rolls, the joints.
Mm-hmm. Well, you think about it, why do we go to Starbucks to, we buy $4 coffees or whatever, because we know what we're getting every single time, right? We go, our taste buds are finicky, right? We know what we want. So, if you're buying a product, it's different every time. You know, you're going to be a little turned off by that when you know you can go get what you want, I guess, is for better.
So it's the key. It's the key. So basically, their technology. He also talks about a couple of other things, and they got, because what's interesting. I think the takeaway for me is, this guy is very focused on, what is it always keeps repeating over and over, superior gross margins, superior focus on superior gross margins. So they want to make, it's about making, profits basically. So they're, that's the focus there. Let's see here. Okay. So, what else we got here? What else? I logged in. I haven't done anything. I mean, I've just been, I'm not quite sure how to use the Discord yet. I'm just posting the videos there now with Hammy. So we'll see. Paul, are you talking about which one? ICAN, or who are you talking about? Who's the 10 bagger? Hammy, you think is ICAN? What's your target for ICAN?
I think short term, you're looking probably 2 or 3 times by Q4 end of the year, and then I think things will really start to roll. So I think it'll hit that 10-month kind of window, like you said, to be a 10 bagger.
Your thoughts? I don't know. I don't know anything about this. What do you? Can they license this?
Well, they don't really. They're not. I don't think they're really licensing it. They're white labeling it to other companies to produce for them. Because the problem is with premium pre-rolls, other companies are, they're relying on manual labor to create their rolls, and their margins are so low. Like I listen to BNN Bloomberg all the time going into work, and they're talking about cannabis stocks struggling in the premium market to meet margins high enough to make it profitable enough. So I think in that sense, if ICAN can roll out these machines and start pumping out pre-rolls, like with cigarettes, like nobody rolls their own cigarettes anymore. So I think that's kind of where the cannabis market's going, and I think they're going to be kind of the trendsetters in the where that's going to kind of go.
Interesting. Okay, so what do you think? Do you follow Well?
I do. That's kind of how I found Doc at first. Somebody told me about Well, and then one of my first things that I do is look for the competition, see who they're up against, and that's kind of how I stumbled on Doc and fell in love. But I think Well, I feel like they're going to get bought out first. I think they're just building to get bought out.
Well is going to be bought out?
I think so. I think they're just building up to get bought out. I think they see what Doc is doing, and it seems like Doc's one step ahead for all these acquisitions. I just think they're one step ahead of them now. I think they've kind of overtaken them in terms of that. Dr. Hamza kind of alluded to it in one of the interviews that because they're doctors, because they have this platform, they own this platform, that they're seeing that they're getting a better bang for their buck, so to speak, when they're making these deals. So I do feel I do like Doc more than Well. I've always felt that way, even when it was 54 cents, and I think Doc will continue to gap up on Well.
Okay, here's a Canadian question. Any suggestions on a trading platform?
I mean, I just use my RBC, and I mean, it's $10 a trade or whatever, but I don't trade that much. Like, I'm not trading up and down. I typically will buy something and wait for it to hit that 2 or 3 times before I move it to something else. So
what different?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different things, but they all come with restrictions too. So with RBC, I can pretty much do whatever I want. The only restrictions come with the TFSA. When you invest with the TFSA, you can't invest in OTC stocks unless they are on an equivalent exchange like the TSE or TSXV.
Okay, so it's interesting. Okay, but also I think, look, the guys who have the free trading, I mean, you basically, they're selling the order flow. I mean, you're paying for on the execution. So there's no. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, here we go. This is Canadian questions there.
Save taxes if you've maxed your TFSA. Oh, like you mean if you're using a cash account? I'm not.
Don't know. Okay, so here Yazan is saying ICAN can license their technology to other states outside of Cali. So
okay.
I guess basically their focus is they're going to own California because that's like the market, and then whatever. I guess is that.
That makes sense.
Okay, so why isn't Doc moved to TSX? I don't know. They're probably working on it, right? I mean, they're, you know.
Yeah, I kind of have a theory that they're trying to keep the stock price reasonable to so when they're doing these acquisitions, that the guys that are buying in are getting a decent stock price for more incentive, I guess. I don't know if that's a thing, but that was kind of my feeling when it was still trading down around $2.
What is this RRSP? What is this?
Oh yeah, so yeah, RSPs, that's your registered retirement savings plan. So that's kind of your shelter to save on paying tax. So you move some of your profits over into your RSP.
What is it? Pretty late in some areas. Mm-hmm. So to wrap up, what's your thoughts? We're Sunday night here. Sunday night. What's your thoughts on the week for big movers? Let's focus on the Wolves and the kind of the stable of the super stocks. What are you expecting from the stable this week?
Well, I think Peak's got to keep going for sure. It just doesn't make sense where they're trading at for where the stock is for the revenues, and I think there's going to be some big news coming out. I think ICAN's going to start to roll. We saw it move on Friday. It had a pretty big move. I think kind of looked like a short squeeze, but I think as long as we, as long as the volume keeps picking up, I think we're going to have some good things with ICAN. I think those are the two. I'm trying to think.
So you got ICAN, Peak. Those are the two big. I mean, how many do you need? I mean,
I think those short term. I think those are probably looking good. Some of the other ones that are on here I don't have, but I definitely think ICAN's ready to roll. I think Doc's gonna go, but I mean, in terms of percentage, it'll move, but I don't think it'll move like something like Peak will.
But you don't know though. Here's an interesting thing with these type of stocks. It's like you don't know.
Exactly. It's just you don't.
What
I can say is I'm feeling pretty safe with those positions, regardless of if the market's up or down. I think long term they're going to be really good. But futures are flying, so it should be a pretty good day, I think.
Biden. Yeah. What is everybody sold in the Biden thing? This is it ain't over till the fat lady sings. There's still they got to recount. Thoughts on IP, Hemi?
I like IP long term. I think it's they got a lot of stuff going on, but I think they need some deals to start rolling in for it to get some traction. They had that the NFL alumni one and the Valencia, and I think the Valencia program rolls out this month, so we could see some interesting action there. I think the Slap-It-On deal the Slap-It-On program is starting up this month as well. So I think we could see some traction there. Keep an eye on that one. I think it's kind of dipping to a level where you could buy it back and probably flip a nice profit because there are some things coming up. And sports teams need to do something. Like they're bleeding out money from no fans. So any kind of fan engagement, fan interaction will be huge.
I was looking at the chart. The chart actually, it looks like there's like a base kind of here. So, and it seems like the last time it kind of hit this level, it had a run. So, it's interesting. I think once they start showing some consistent traction with news, it'll be kind of game on, right?
Well, I think the Valencia thing's a catalyst to show everybody like exactly what they're capable of doing. So I don't think we've really had that. Yet to see exactly what they can bring for fan engagement. I think the Valencia program will really help that because they got 9 million fans around the world. So
how do they join Discord? Tell them, how do they join Discord?
There's links posted. Somebody could probably post them in the chat, but if you want to, what's the best way?
Go to discord.com and
no, I don't know if there's a way to.
On Twitter, if you were on our Twitter thing.
I got a Twitter thing. You can follow me, Hammy_1022. You can follow me there, and I can send you all the links.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there's your thing. There's your.
Here. Can I type it in here?
Yeah. Hang on. Yeah, put it in.
Where do I?
Type it in. I'll pull down the banner here for a second, and it'll come up. So in your name, I guess.
No, one sec. It doesn't let me. Oh, I can put a.
We'll figure it next. We'll have to have it next. I don't know how to do. I don't know how to do it here.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's nowhere for me to type here.
You guys gotta chip in on cameras here.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, I wasn't sure how this was gonna go, but if I'm gonna be on again, I'll definitely make sure I get a better setup. I'm used to podcasts, so I got my podcast mic and everything like that. So.
No, the sound is great. I hear you. Oh! You have a mic. I just noticed that you got a mic thing going there.
Well, it's my earbud. Just
Oh, but there's the mic. Is there a mic there or not? Because the sound.
No. I got a blue Snowball, like one of those big mics that capture sound.
The Yeti or something. The Yeti.
No, it's a blue Snowball. It's not a Yeti. Okay. It's kind of old school. But I used to have a podcast, so.
Okay. Oh, you got a fan. You got a fan.
Thank you. I don't know if I have the sex appeal that Paul does, but I try.
Okay. All right. So we're going to I think that's it. We'll wrap up. So the fast lane. We're gonna probably do a live stream talking specifically about the fast lane strategy, the new fast lane strategy Thursday. And but in the meanwhile, join the Telegram, join our Telegram thing, our channel Telegram, Discord, join the Hammy Discord channels, and we'll see you guys on the next live stream. Hammy, thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you again next time.